A good evening to you. I suppose I need no introduction, and I've been given none. I begin by letting you know that Liz Thompson has indicated that she wants to come back on the 15th of February to join this campaign. And she's asked me to tell you how much she appreciated the opportunity to have served you, how much she valued the friendships and the fellowships that she would have enjoyed in this constituency, and how much she wants to help to make sure that the future of this constituency and Barbados is indeed a better and a brighter future. And I have come tonight because I have a number of other speeches to give, principally to endorse a fine young lady. I knew Sandra Husbands more than before I knew any of the candidates in this Barbados Labour Party, because I taught at university. And I feel a sense of responsibility to her, having either taught or misled her. But I do feel that sense of responsibility to make sure that a person who I regard as a protege is given an opportunity to serve at the highest level in the country. But I stand where Grantley Adams stood, and I understand my obligations to him and to this party that I serve. And all of us who become leaders of the Barbados Labour Party feel that we have to build and to build and to build to make sure that the party's future is better than its past. And so it was with Tom, so it was with Henry, and so it was with me. But I now have the obligation to make sure that we bring to public life a new generation of Labour Party people who can tap into the rich legacy this party has developed over 75 years and give Barbados the kind of government that the people of Barbados deserve. And tonight I can give Sandra Husband a ring endorsement, because you may have some pumper setters on the other side. And Donald Innes is a pumper setter. You may have people who believe that their purpose in life is to play with public relations to make things appear to be what they are not. And Don Villinis, I will concede, is a master at public relations. But then I can commend Sandra Husbands to you, because I know that Sandra Husbands has come to public life with the intention to serve. And I say that because before she has put her hat into the ring to serve as the Member of Parliament for this constituency, Sandra Husbands has already served the people of Barbados in a most magnificent way that gave me the confidence that if you were to put her in Parliament, and they may find other things for her to do too, that the same attitude to serve that she has displayed otherwise will be brought to bear on behalf of the people of this constituency. And I can say that with confidence and without fear of contradiction. I am proud to be able to be leading a political party who have a candidate who have put in many years as the president of the country's Small Business Association. And you know, there are some people who have taken that position and played with it. But every year, as Minister of Finance, I will ask Sandra, husband, Sandra, please tell me the one thing that the Small Business Association needs to have done on its behalf. And we together will do it. I know there are so many people who seek to make a political reputation and a career out of their so-called love for the small black man. And I have to say it again, that the amount of false tears that have been shed on behalf of the small man and small businesses, if you were to collect all the false tears that have been shed in this country on behalf of the small businesses, you will have enough salt water to run the Atlantic Ocean out of business. But Sandra is a case of proven commitment and record where the Small Business Association is concerned. And the Bible says party has a record where small business is concerned that I am proud of. There is a small business secretariat on Fontebelle that we built and equipped. And there's a small business, the first government and the only government in Barbados that has ever put in place a Small Business Development Act that reduced the tax rate on small businesses from 40% to 15%. It's the Barbados Labour Party. And one year I tell us, Sandra, I would like you to decentralize the operation of the small business, carry the services to the people. She said, it shall be done. And she established a small business office in Spikestown, a 1 in 6 rows, to make sure that small businesses did not have to come to Bridgetown to get help, that you carry the help to where the small businesses need them. And that is the kind of activism on behalf of genuine small people that I can with confidence tell you that Sandra Husbands has brought already to public life. And Sandra, if you bring that same attention to duty and care for the poor and the underprivileged to the representation of this constituency, then I can tell you that St. James South will be proud of the representation that you have to confer upon them. And look, and I can be very candid tonight, and what do you have on the other side? I say he's a pompous setter, but he is probably, and I am not going to get into personal abuse on these platforms, but I have served in a parliament with Errol Barrow and Tom Adams and Bernard St. John, Erskine Sandiford, Richie Haynes. And there has always been a kind of a decorum in our parliament that made you proud when you walk off the street. You felt you were coming to a place, highest place in the land. And I'm saying, and I shall not apologize for it. This parliament reduced to being a poor-raky place. From a parliament to piffle. And some of the people who have been at the center of it have been people like Donville Ennis. You cannot get to your feet in Parliament and utter a word without the nastiness spewing from the mouth of people like Donville Ennis. And Donville, as a member of this constituency, I say the time has come when we, the people of St. James South, because I live in this constituency, must tell you, not in our name. We do not send representatives to Parliament to abuse people and to take the honor and the dignity of the people's vote to get on with the nastiness and the viciousness of which you are the principal indulger. And I'm challenging it tonight. You have told the people of Barbados that what Duguay said, that you said is not true. And I dare you to say that again. I dare you to make that an issue in this campaign. I dare you to tell the people of St. James South that they should vote either for you or against you on the basis of whether what you said is true is true. I dare them, because a day will come in soon when you will hear the truth. But tonight, Donville, I say to you, not in my name. And there are a lot of things that has been happening surrounding Donville Innes that we're talking about. And I'm not talking now about things at the personal level. I'm not going to let this platform degenerate into these things. But too many deals are being cut by the Democratic Labour Party as they are about to leave office. Too many. You heard about cost you less. That Minister of Finance is prepared to give cost you less concessions to invest, construct, furnish, equip, buy goods, sell them, free of duties and taxes. Is prepared to give cost you less staff the right to have duty-free vehicles and have their personal effects taxed, and to be able to make money and for 15 years don't pay a cent in Barbados on the money that they make. But that is not the only deal I hear about. I may say that it is wrong, because if the Democratic Labour Party is willing to offer such a deal to cost you less, it has to offer a similar deal to everybody else who is selling goods and serving goods in this country. Otherwise, it can put everybody else out of business. And you can better understand now why the roundabout has been built on that highway. Because nobody turns left, you got to turn right. But the Dental Association of Barbados have been complaining that Donville Innes and the Democratic Labour Party are effectively seeking to do the same thing in relation to the St. Joseph's Hospital. Now, I would be glad to see the St. Joseph's Hospital brought back into operation. I would be glad. It was a hospital that was owned by the private sector. It could not succeed in the private sector. Bamford took a lot of money that should have been spent on the QEH and spent it down there. But that is water under the bridge. But they say that the Dental Association and other people have a case when they tell Donville Innes that you cannot give a group of foreign investors investing in the St. Joseph Hospital tax-free concessions on the equipment and whatever else, but you're not prepared to give the same concessions to them. You will put those people at a disadvantage in having to function in the same market if one set of people have duty-free status and the next have to pay tax. And you know, there's a distinction between how the Democratic Labour Party functions and how we do. When we were in office, and I can come to that matter tonight, there was a group that wanted to build a modern new hospital on the highway outside Bagatelle. And I called a meeting with all the owners and directors of Bayview. And this is a matter of public record. I told them that any concessions that I'm prepared to give anybody to invest in a hospital in Barbados, I am going to give you. Because you can't have a situation where two sets of people are doing the same thing and one set of persons' liability to tax puts them at a disadvantage to the others. And this business of the Democratic Labour Party, whether it is Carry Cable, cost you less, or the hospital that is to go in St. Peter, of offering people to come from abroad better terms to operate than they are offering our people, is wrong. It is not the kind of Barbados that we must have. And you have to ask, what lie behind these sweetheart deals that these people are prepared to put in place? Because the facts are that cost you less, concessions will be challenged. And here is what is going to happen. Under the Administrative Justice Act, what you do for one, you have to do for all in similar circumstances. And you're either going to have to give all the others the same concessions, which means you can break the treachery, or you're going to have to pay them out. And so, Frandel and Donville, if you can bring, and they told them so in St. Andrew, if you're going to bring a new hospital to St. Joseph and St. Peter, do it in the right way. We need to be told as well what are the conditions under which the Bayview Hospital is being sold. And if there are any arrangements whereby services now being performed at the QEH are to be privatized and be performed by the new owners of this hospital. We need to be, who are the owners of the new hospital? We need full transparency on these things. And tonight I really want to say a few things on healthcare. I am not a specialist. That the time for announcements and pronouncements must come to an end. There's only one way and only one way in which you can build a hospital. But you've heard from the Democratic Party over and over again, every different week there's a different way they can build a hospital and pay for it. So I want to say they said they're not building, but they're going to rehabilitate. The next time they said they can sell the shares in the BNB to build a new hospital. Now, you know, of course, that gone through the editors because the shares for the BNB sold already. And then you hear that the hospital is going to be at Kingston. I don't know who's going to put a hospital at Kingston. And then it's going to be out by Lears. And I made this point because I led a country for 14 years. And in order to lead a country successfully, you have to keep a country to a course. And to keep a country to a course, there must be clarity of purpose. In Alice in Wonderland, they say, if you don't know where you're going, any road will do. And in the matter of building a new hospital, don't feel innocent, like Alice in Wonderland. I don't mean that in a sexual way. But any road will do. And tonight I want to say this. Barbados cannot right now, under present circumstances, afford to build a new hospital because we don't have $1 billion. That's what it will cost you. We do not have $1 billion to spend on a new hospital. So let me put that for rest for the time being. I also feel strongly that when Grantley Adams, because that hospital was built by a Labour Party government led by Grantley Adams, that when he decided to build that hospital there, he understood that the best place to put a hospital is in the center of an urban area where people can walk from the bus stand to the hospital and have easy access to the hospital. Nobody in the world would take a hospital from an urban area where you can walk to it and carry to Kingsland where you have to take 7 or 6 buses to get there. But you all are not big policymakers, but you won't do that. That's foolishness. So that the notion of building a hospital in Kingston is folly. So put it to rest. You can't do it. The notion of building a new hospital at Lears, again, is foolishness. And I am telling my side, and you will say in the manifesto, that if we become the government, I will not be able to find $1 billion to add to the public debt to build a hospital, a new hospital. For the time being, you've got to fix up the QEH on Enmore side, Gemma's Lane side, and bring the polyclinics into a condition where they can perform some of the services that the QEH is doing. Open them longer. Let some of the emergency things that they're doing there at QEH go to the polyclinics. But this nonsense that every week He and the young lady from St. Andrew. What's your name? Every week they come forward with a new different plan to build a new hospital and they can't get it done. And the time has come for us to put this kind of foolish government to rest. I also feel that this government has botched the reform of the drug service. I feel so. That if a government of Barbados has to make adjustments to a public service, it must do so, in my view, and we state this with clarity in our manifesto, it must do it in a way that will enable the poor, the elderly, and those having special disabilities or special circumstances, those must continue to have access to services free, paid for by the government of Barbados. And for us, that is a non-negotiable position. There can be no good reason why our pensioners living with conditions that require them to have to spend a significant part of their income on health, because you all have to do so, should have to be button about, and not having to dip into their little pensions to pay for drugs. That is wrong, and they want stopping. And part of the new Barbados that we give you is the Barbados that can stop those kind of foolish things. We can govern your country well. And you have to return to those basic, sensible principles. I am going to be talking about this manifesto from time to time as well. That we must reach a stage as well where you now have a tax allowance to let you look after your house. You need a tax allowance that would allow you to look after your health care. That if you want to buy health insurance, you should be able to claim it against your tax. If you want to join a gym and deal with your health care needs through that way, we must be able to get it through tax relief. Now, I'm going to use these platforms to talk about some of the burning issues facing this country. And there's a burning issue facing this country that affects what happens in this constituency that we're talking about. It concerns the future of the University of the West Indies. There are many. I live in West Terrace. It is the only house I've ever had. It's the only house I shall ever have. And I have neighbors who live depending upon the income that they get from the fact that the University of the West Indies is in our midst. And this constituency, together with Chris Sinclair's constituency, profits from the fact that Cave campus exists. Cave campus, at its present circumstances, earn more money in foreign exchange for Barbados than the Sandy Lane. You have 7,000 students at Cave campus, of which 1/3 come from abroad. That is about 1,500 students a year spending 7 months in Barbados. Compute how much foreign exchange you bring in. And then you have the seminars and all the things that happen when you have a university. Cave campus is one of the most popular campuses in the world for its summer programs. Americans want to come here. And Henry Beckers, God bless him, came up with a proposal. He says, let me and work with a government to take this campus and build it out into a township. Because all across the world, you have economies that depend upon university towns. It is how California functions. In parts of England, Oxford is a university town, and the town makes its living in that way. And Hillary's vision was that let us expand the university from 7,000 to 15,000. And consider how much foreign exchange would come into Barbados if now you got 5,000 students being there a year, spending money in BlackRock, all through these districts. He also wanted to put a science park there too. And it says, I love the idea. 32 acres of land on the Lazaretta site, Hillary, is owned by the government. To fulfill your dream and our dream, we are going to vest the land in the University of the West Indies. You sell it. Raise the money to develop it. And the government is going to lease back the land from the person who you sell it to. So we leverage the value of the land so that what was happening down at Caveville could happen. And tonight I have to say this to Barbados. Because we got to promise you a better future, but how can that future be better if you don't deal with our most urgent needs? Barbados will, for the future, have to depend on the quality of its human resources more than it's ever had to depend in the past. And why? You all have to be told these things. There was a time when we used to be able to sell our exports to Europe duty-free, but they could not sell their goods to us duty-free. That has come to an end. There was a time when a lot of Barbados' prosperity was based upon the fact that a company invested in Barbados from Canada was able to send back its money to Canada free of tax in Canada, but other Caribbean countries were not in a position to do so. And by that rule called the exempt surplus rule, Barbados became the place where the third highest concentration of Canadian investment in the world took place. $60 billion of investment. Some of the biggest companies in Canada came here, including a company that was owned by a former Prime Minister of Canada. Now, we had a unique tax benefit that other Caribbean countries did not have. But now, if you enter a tax information exchange agreement with Canada, Canada has started to give all other Caribbean countries the same tax benefit that they gave us. Now, we have a middle class in Barbados that came to exist because of Canadian business. But Canadian business started to leave, and you heard that 20 left and others were planning to leave. We have to give businesses in today's world a reason beyond just tax benefits for wanting to establish a business in Barbados. And what will it come down to? That businesses will establish here. Business will establish here if they can form enterprises out of having access to a wider range of skills and better skills than they can get in the rest of the Caribbean. They will also establish here if we stop treating them badly and have an immigration policy that don't tell a man that he can come, but his children can't come. So we got to understand that the quality of our human resources for the future will matter more than in the past. And here's the question. We have universal access to primary education. Anybody would feel that anybody who wanted to be trained at the primary level should not get trained. We have universal access at the secondary level. But every year, Barbadians want to be trained at university, but we can't get them trained. Now, what has happened? The government that I led prepared a plan that says we're going to take the non-university tertiary institutions like the Samuel Jackman Community College and so on, and amalgamate them into a University College of Barbados so that Barbadian students who want to be trained can be trained, and that we can base our future on offering skills relevant for today's world. The Dems have abandoned that. And Barbados, listen to me very carefully. While we are here fooling around with tertiary education, what is happening in the rest of the Caribbean? Jamaica has access to the University of the West Indies. It also now has the University of Technology that started to train Jamaicans to world-class standards. Jamaica now has 4 additional universities and 21 community colleges. Trinidad has access to UWA. It has its own university, and it's planning to build more. Guyana has its own university. Grenada has access to UWA and has the St. George Medical School as the biggest single employer and earner of foreign exchange in Grenada. And you have a government, a wicked, wicked, wicked government, that has decided that they're going to starve the University of West Indies of funds. It takes $150 million a year to send our children to UWA on the present terms, not only at Cave but elsewhere. And the government has given them $75 million. What it is telling them, that cut admission to university by half at a time when Barbados needs trained people more than ever in its history. And the Vice Chancellor has spoken. We agree with him. We have put forward clear proposals as to how we should fund the University of the West Indies. I have said simply, the national insurance should not be made, the university should not be made to borrow from the national insurance. National insurance is accumulating surpluses faster than its need. Reduce the employer and employees' rate temporarily, convert that into a higher education levy, and pay for our children to continue to have access to university education. But sometimes you all do not understand why I speak with passion on this matter. I will never kick down the ladder by which I climbed up. I will not. And I'm speaking on the spot. That means so much to me that you all don't understand how I feel when I pass here. In 1968, when I went to University of Cave campus, I was the youngest, 18 years old, youngest student on campus. And many a night, as I have told people, I had to walk from Cave campus to mile and a quarter in St. Peter because the last bus had left me. And many a night, I got home drenched with rain just simply to get a university education. And many a night, I saw my parents weep because of the condition under which I had to come home just to get an education to take me out of poverty and to give me an opportunity to be that which I could become. And the reason why I'm passionate about it is that they couldn't stand it. And I had an uncle who had a house here, on this very same spot that I'm talking to you from. I had an uncle called Owen Arthur. And my parents asked my uncle to take me in so that I would not have to walk from Cavefield to mile and a quarter every night to get a university education. I live here to get a university education. And you must believe me when I tell you that there are still Barbadian families of my family's circumstances. I saw how proud Mohammed Dassa was when I joined with him to convince the University of West Indies that his child was deserving of a university education. And it has to be a special kind of backwardness for Barbadians wanting to be trained. Can't get training because a government, a bankrupt, ignorant government, can't find money to spend on political football competitions. Can't spend money to spend on constituency councils to get them to walk around to look at foolishness in constituencies. can find money to do all kind of foolish things, but cannot find the wherewithal to allow young Barbadians to become like me, to be able to become the best that they can be through having access to university training. And I give you the pledge. From this spot, where I was enabled to come out of poverty, that once I have anything to do with the fortunes of this country, not in my name, not under my watch, that all young Barbadians must be allowed to become the best that they can be. Good night, and God bless each and every one of you.